In this video I'm going to show you how to replace the tail lights on a 2017 Toyota RAV4 on the right hand side, including the one on the tailgate itself, because both of these are cracked and they need to get replaced. Here's what you're going to need to get your project done: a 10mm ratcheting wrench, 1/8 inch flathead screwdriver, 3/8 inch ratchet with a 10mm, and if you want to keep your hands clean, a pair of gloves. Here's the right side outer tail light, and the only bolts on the tail light that are holding it down in place are these two right here. On the outside of the tail light itself, there's a pin that the tail light will slide it into. So all we got to do is remove these two bolts and pull the tail light off. Let's get that done. So it's a little difficult to get off. It is cold out today. There's a clip that the taillight slides into here, and then there's a pin that pushes into the actual body there. So all I'm going to do is remove these and put the new taillight on. So here we are with the new tail light. And I'll show you these bulbs in case you ever need to replace these bulbs. This is how you'd get the tail light off the vehicle. So just counterclockwise to remove the bulbs, and then you're going to want to make sure that the pin on the plastic pin on the far right, and then you hear the click, you want to push the metal pin back in. Go ahead and replace the two bolts, and the outside one is all done. Okay, so we're gonna look at the light on the tailgate now, and this is gonna be a little bit awkward of a view, but you're just gonna have to bear with me on this. I don't know how else to do this. And I'll get up close and to what we're gonna be looking at here. But there's these two bolts here. These are actually a part of what holds on the inner tail light to the tailgate. And then you have, I know you can't exactly see it on the black, but there's a panel here if you're looking at your own vehicle that you can pop out. And so if you take a small little screwdriver, you can actually pop out the panel here. So this is looking into the right hand panel. You got two more bolts, you can see them clearly there, and a connector. So if I reach in here, I can disconnect this connector. There's a pin on the right hand side. It's pretty small. I'm using a fingernail to push it down. There's a closer view of this pin. It was sitting in there like this, so I used my fingernail to push it down and pull this one out. So there's two bolts here in addition to the two on the outside, and if I swing around, I might be able to see the last one. I guess you really can't see the last one. I'm trying my hardest here, but if you stick your hand here, if you can feel it. I'd say it's about half my hand, so 3 or 4 inches. And if you look at your replacement light, you'll see where that's at. So there's the 2 on the outside of the tailgate, there's the 2 that we just saw with the connector, and there's one deep hidden inside. So I found it easiest on this most inner one is to stick your hand up here and turn it around. That way you can actually have some dexterity. Your hand should be able to fit in the space in here. You'd be surprised how much room is in there. So I moved the tailgate down to pull off the old tail lamp and just pull it right out. You should have already disconnected your one connector, and you can see how easy it was once you got the bolts off. So here we're going to quickly replace it with our new one. Just ease it right back into where it lives. So I'm going to start with these 2 now that we've got the new tail light installed. I'm not going to tighten them all down, I'm just going to get them started on each one. And this is so that we can check its fitment once we're getting close to being done. I did give it a little bit of pressure on the top side just to get through the new gaskets, because there are new gaskets on this tail lamp. Be careful with this one. Spend some time and concentrate to get the innermost one started. That's the one you don't want to drop behind your plastic panel, because your plastic panel is not super easy to get off. Lastly, before you start tightening stuff down, connect your connector back in. Now I've got my wrench set to tighten. Get my hand in there the right way. I am using a ratcheting wrench, which I would recommend you using. So now that we've got the innermost tightened down somewhat, I'm going to give these 2 outer ones a little bit of a cinch down. We'll pull the tailgate down and make sure that the fitment is looking good on the taillight itself. So just so you can see, there's a little bit of play here, and there is not too bad of a gap. I think once this taillight is actually cinched down on the inside, this will look stock, especially compared to the gap around the edge with the other side. And this is an aftermarket taillight. It looks good. It looks like the other one does. I'm gonna pop off the camera here. Fitment looks good. So there's brand new tail lights on the right hand side. Come over here real quick and see, yes, they do match. Again, you can see here. and it looks good. So now that you've seen the tail light looks good, go ahead and just cinch, give everything a couple more turns, make sure it's on there. It's not going to be super tight, but just tight enough so that you know it's not going to rattle loose. So all of them are tight. Go ahead and replace the plastic panel. So once you have your new lights installed, make sure that they work, because it would be a real bummer if you did all of that work, didn't check this part. So I just showed you how to replace the tail lights. I hope you really enjoyed the video, and let me know if you have any questions or comments down below, and I hope to have you on my channel again in the future. Thank you.